Day to day.
Yeah.
It's up to God at this point. You know, I've done everything I can do.
At 67, former Bon Jovi guitarist Richie Sambora has unexpectedly left millions of fans deeply moved as he looks back on the most turbulent chapters of his life.
You know, it was not easy, and it was the shock was when he didn't show up and the issues that he was having again.
From the height of fame with albums that sold hundreds of millions of copies, he once chose to give up everything, walking away from the spotlight in the middle of a global tour to face a fractured family crisis and deep emotional wounds. What really happened behind that fateful decision?
I loved music. I loved the feeling that it gave me. Also, I had the benefit of being that young. When you're that young, you can chase a dream and not have the responsibility of worrying about, am I even going to go?
What did the remarkable reunion after 2 decades of separation truly mean? Join us as we uncover the story that had never been told. In 1983, Richie Sambora joined Bon Jovi at a time when the band was building the lineup that would make them one of the biggest names in American rock. As a guitarist and co-songwriter, Sambora helped create numerous hit songs such as You Give Love a Bad Name, Livin' on a Prayer, and Wanted Dead or Alive. Commercial success came quickly. The album, Slippery When Wet, became a major milestone for Bon Jovi, propelling the group to the top and making Sambora one of the most widely recognized guitarists of his generation. His music career continued to grow alongside the band in the years that followed. In Hollywood, Heather Locklear had already established her own position. After her marriage to drummer Tommy Lee ended in 1993, the actress continued to rise to fame with Melrose Place. Sambora and Locklear met a year later when both had already built successful careers in 2 different areas of the entertainment industry. Their relationship progressed quickly. The two held a civil ceremony in Red Bank, New Jersey before flying to Paris for an official wedding celebration with family and friends. December 17, 1994 became the official milestone of the marriage between the Melrose Place star and the Bon Jovi guitarist. Before getting married, the couple also signed a prenuptial agreement. Later, legal records showed that the prenup had been signed just days before the wedding in Paris. The detail would later become a notable part of the process of resolving financial matters when the marriage came to an end. In 1997, the Sambora-Locklear family welcomed a new member. Their only daughter, Ava Elizabeth Sambora, was born on October 4th. Ava's arrival made family life an increasingly important part of both of their public images. For many years, Richie Sambora and Heather Locklear were regarded by the media as a prominent couple, bridging Hollywood and the world of rock music. One was a television star, while the other was a key member of Bon Jovi. They appeared together at numerous events and maintained the image of a close-knit family in public. For Sambora, his career with Bon Jovi continued to expand. He was not only performing on stage with his guitar, but also helping write songs that became an important part of the band's catalog. His professional success brought even greater public attention to his personal life. Behind that stable image, problems had begun to emerge within the marriage that the public could not fully see. In late 2005, Sambora and Locklear still issued a statement denying reports that they were experiencing difficulties. At the time, both continued to maintain the image of a united family in front of the media. But behind that seemingly perfect image, cracks had begun to emerge. Then, an unexpected decision sent their marriage toward an official ending. The divorce shock. On February 2006, Heather Locklear officially filed for divorce from Richie Sambora after nearly 12 years of marriage. The filing cited irreconcilable differences as the reason. The move came not long after the couple had publicly denied reports that their marriage was in trouble. Sambora's reaction indicated that he had not been prepared for the decision. On the day Locklear filed, the Bon Jovi guitarist told the media that the reports of their separation were untrue. and said the two still had plans together for Valentine's Day. He also said he was on his way home. After the divorce, filing custody of Ava quickly became an important part of the case. Locklear sought primary physical custody of their daughter, while Sambora wanted shared custody. The two also had to address matters involving their assets. The prenuptial agreement signed before their 1994 wedding became a notable point in the dispute. Sambora sought to have the agreement enforced. Since the couple had signed a prenup, many financial matters had already been established in advance, limiting the possibility of a prolonged division of their assets. While the divorce proceedings were still underway, Sambora's personal life continued to attract attention when he began a relationship with Denise Richards. Richards had been a close friend of Locklear and also lived near the Sambora family. The new relationship quickly became one of the details most closely examined by the media. Richards and Sambora both rejected the interpretation that she had interfered in Locklear's marriage. Richards said her friendship with Locklear had ended before she began dating Sambora. She also stressed that both sides were going through their own separations at the time. Sambora also denied having an affair with Richards while he was still married to Locklear. According to his explanation at the time, the marriage had already reached its end before the new relationship began. The fact that Richards had once been close to Locklear still made the situation a major subject of public attention. Sambora and Richards's relationship did not last long. The two separated around March 2007, only a few weeks before Sambora and Locklear's marriage was officially dissolved. Richards remained in contact with Sambora's family and attended his father's funeral shortly afterward. A month later, the marriage between Richie Sambora and Heather Locklear officially ended. The two had been together for more than a decade and had one daughter. The specific terms concerning custody and financial support were not fully disclosed, but the divorce marked a major turning point in both of their personal lives. After the divorce was finalized, Sambora continued to fulfill his role as Ava's father. Locklear also continued her acting career. The two were no longer husband and wife, but their responsibilities toward their daughter meant they still had to maintain a connection in the years that followed. The divorce had barely settled when Sambora was confronted with another major loss. A series of events quickly pushed him into one of the most difficult periods of his life. Hitting rock bottom. Just 9 days after his marriage to Heather Locklear officially ended, Richie Sambora faced another loss. On April 20, 2007, his father, Adam Sambora, died of lung cancer. This happened while Sambora was still dealing with the consequences of the divorce and the custody dispute involving his daughter. Adam Sambora's death made Richie Sambora's situation even more difficult. He had just gone through the end of his marriage, had to adjust to caring for Ava under new circumstances, and was also facing problems related to his alcohol use. The pressures came almost all at once. In a 2008 interview, Sambora described that period as a gang tackle from hell. He had to deal with numerous personal problems while still fulfilling his responsibilities in music. Bon Jovi remained active, while the guitarist's private life continued to receive constant media attention. His alcohol problem became more serious after the marriage ended. Sambora later acknowledged that he had used alcohol to cope with the pressures he was facing. Images and reports about his condition led fans to notice a clear change from the stable image they had previously seen. In June 2007, Sambora entered a treatment facility at UCLA to address his alcohol use. He later described the process as a detox. This was not the only time he had to deal with the issue, but seeking treatment showed that the situation had reached a point where intervention was necessary. A few months earlier, Sambora's relationship with Denise Richards had also come to an end. The two separated before his divorce from Locklear was finalized. Richards still attended Adam Sambora's funeral, showing that her relationship with his family did not completely end with the breakup. After a series of upheavals, Sambora continued trying to maintain his role as a father. Ava was still young and needed stability from both parents. The fact that Locklear and Sambora were no longer living as a family made caring for their daughter one of the most important priorities for both of them. Sambora's personal problems were not completely resolved. On March 26, 2008, he was arrested in Laguna Beach, California, for driving under the influence of alcohol. Testing showed that his blood alcohol level was 0.13% above the legal limit. Notably, Ava was only 10 years old at the time and was in the car. The arrest immediately drew significant attention because it was directly connected to Sambora's responsibility toward his daughter. It also became one of the most serious incidents during his efforts to regain personal stability. Sambora later pleaded guilty to the DUI charge. His sentence included 3 years of probation and a requirement to attend an educational program related to drinking and driving. The case was resolved legally, but it showed that his difficulties continued to affect his life away from the stage. After the DUI, Sambora had to confront the consequences of his choices directly. He later acknowledged that this was the point when he had hit bottom. Treatment. The death of his father, the divorce, and his responsibility toward Ava forced him to reconsider his personal life and the priorities ahead. As family became a priority, Sambora began making choices that could change his entire career. Leaving Bon Jovi. After a series of upheavals, Richie Sambora began focusing more on his role as a father. Ava was still young while Heather Locklear continued to face her own problems. Sambora understood that maintaining a stable relationship with his daughter was more important than preserving the image of a perfect family in the public eye. The relationship between Sambora and Locklear also gradually changed. After their difficult divorce, the two began finding ways to work together in caring for Ava. Sambora explained that they needed to remain on good terms because disagreements between parents could directly affect their daughter. For Sambora, his responsibility as a father increasingly became an important factor in his personal decisions. He continued making music and performing with Bon Jovi, but the demanding touring schedule made balancing work and family increasingly difficult. At the time, Bon Jovi remained one of the biggest rock bands in the world. Sambora had been with the group since 1983, contributing to many well-known songs and becoming an important part of the band's distinctive sound. His departure was therefore far from a minor decision. In early 2013, Bon Jovi began the Because We Can tour. Sambora participated in the initial shows and continued appearing on stage with the band. In April, he unexpectedly stopped appearing on the tour, leaving fans and the media questioning the reason. The decision to leave Bon Jovi came after the tour's 35th show. Sambora did not have a lengthy public farewell with the band. He simply did not return to the stage with the other members, creating one of the most unexpected changes in the group's history. At first, Sambora's absence led to various explanations. Information he shared later showed that the decision involved several issues at once. Fatigue from the touring schedule, family responsibilities, and Heather Locklear's condition all played a role in his choice. In later interviews, Sambora said that Locklear needed his support at the time, while Ava was also at an age when she needed her father. He realized that he could not continue an intense touring schedule and devote enough time to his family at the same time. This was an important factor in his decision to leave the band. In the documentary, Thank You Goodnight, The Bon Jovi Story, Sambora continued to discuss why he left Bon Jovi. He described it as the result of multiple issues coming together rather than a single argument or a disagreement over money. John Bon Jovi also rejected the idea that Sambora left because of a major conflict between the two men. Based on what was shared, the main issue was that Sambora stopped coming to work. The band had to quickly adjust its lineup to complete the scheduled tour. Leaving Bon Jovi meant giving up a position Sambora had built over 3 decades. He had helped create some of the group's most successful albums and performed on stage in front of millions of fans. The decision in 2013 showed that his priorities had changed significantly. After leaving the band, Sambora had more time to spend with Ava and continued pursuing his own musical projects. He did not disappear from the entertainment industry, but he no longer maintained the demanding touring schedule he had followed as a full-time member of Bon Jovi. The relationship between Sambora and Locklear also continued to become more stable. The two did not reunite romantically, but their shared responsibility for Ava created a lasting connection. Over time, the disagreements from their divorce no longer shaped the way they interacted as they once had. But the story did not end with Sambora's decision to leave Bon Jovi. The years that followed would show how much the Sambora family had truly changed. Finding peace again. After leaving Bon Jovi, Richie Sambora continued his music career while spending more time with his family. His relationship with Heather Locklear also gradually became more stable. They did not reunite romantically, but sharing responsibility for their daughter Ava created a lasting connection after their marriage ended. Sambora has said that he and Locklear eventually became good friends. They remained in contact and appeared together at important moments in Ava's life. Their relationship became focused on supporting their daughter rather than the disagreements that had surrounded their divorce. Ava Elizabeth Sambora later built a career path separate from her parents. She studied psychology and earned a master's degree in marriage and family therapy, choosing a field centered on helping others rather than following her father into music or her mother into acting. One of the most important family milestones came on May 16, 2026, when Ava married Tyler Farrar at Rosewood Miramar Beach in Montecito, California. Richie Sambora and Heather Locklear appeared together at the wedding and walked their daughter down the aisle. Sambora also performed "Livin' on a Prayer," one of the songs most closely associated with his Bon Jovi career. He followed it with an original song written for Ava, "I'll Always Walk Beside You." The wedding became one of the most significant family moments of his year. Before proposing to Ava, Farrar had also approached Sambora to ask for his permission. For Sambora, the moment marked another transition in his daughter's life as she began a new chapter of her own. His family life has developed alongside his continued musical work. Sambora has remained active with Kings of Chaos and various solo projects. Leaving Bon Jovi did not end his career as a performer. In 2025, Sambora revealed on Billy Corgan's podcast that he had been in a private romantic relationship for more than 2 years. He said the woman was around 60 years old, but did not identify her, keeping the relationship largely away from public attention. In the following year, Sambora remains active on stage. He is scheduled to perform on the Rock the Boat cruise in Australia in October, alongside other artists. At 67, he continues working in music, even though his career now operates outside the structure of Bon Jovi. Another notable development this year was the recovery of a Gibson Explorer that had been missing for nearly 40 years. The instrument is connected to an important period of his musical history, making its return another memorable event for the guitarist. His relationship with Bon Jovi remains unresolved. Sambora said this year that he was not welcome on the band's Forever tour. Although discussions about a possible reunion have continued, the distance between him and the group remains. At this stage of his life, Sambora's story is no longer defined only by whether he returns to Bon Jovi. His family music and private life have become equally important parts of his identity. The image of Sambora standing beside Heather Locklear at Ava's wedding illustrates how much their relationship had changed. Their marriage ended years ago, but they were eventually able to put the past aside and stand together for their daughter on one of the most important days of her life. The divorce remained an important chapter in Sambora's story, but it did not define everything that followed. He experienced personal struggles, left Bon Jovi, rebuilt his relationship with his family, and continued his music career. By 2026, he and Locklear had reached a point where they could support Ava together. If you want to discover more stories behind the lives of famous stars, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you do not miss the next videos.